Landslide victory for right-wing populist Geert Wilders in the biggest Dutch political upset since World War II.
Europe's far-right party leaders congratulate their Eurosceptic ally Geert Wilders in the PVV's win in the Dutch parliamentary elections. The wait continues. Israeli officials say a Hamas truce deal securing the release of 50 hostages captured by the militant group will be delayed by at least a day. Helsinki shuts all but one of its borders with Moscow after claims Russia is pushing migrants and asylum seekers towards the boundary as payback for its NATO membership.
13 years of rule by the Netherlands Conservative Liberal Party has come to an end. The big winner of the night, Geert Wilders, and the far-right wing PVV, heading for a massive parliamentary election victory in one of the biggest political upsets in Dutch politics since World War II.
De grootste partij van Nederland. En ik zeg jullie, Nederland, de kiezer heeft vanavond gesproken. De kiezer heeft gezegd, we zijn het zat, we zijn het spuugzat en wij willen. En daar gaan wij voor zorgen dat die Nederlander weer op één komt te staan.
During the campaign, the controversial Wilders played down his known hardline views on Islam, but linked the country's housing crisis to migration.
Ik ben zeer zeker niet racistisch, absoluut niet. Maar ik ben wel van mening dat er heel veel gelukzoekers deze kant op komen die wij een halt toe moeten roepen. Omdat we wonen in een vrij klein land. Er wonen verschrikkelijk veel mensen. Niemand wil hier de hoogte in bouwen. We willen allemaal ons huisje, ons tuintje. Dat gaat simpelweg niet. Dus vandaar dat we moeten kijken naar oplossingen. Een van die oplossingen is stop de migratie.
The closest party to Wilders won was an alliance of the centre-left Labour Party and Green Left, forecast to win 25 seats. But its leader Frans Timmermans has made it clear that Wilders should not count on a coalition with him. The People's Party for Freedom and Democracy gained 24 seats.
The VVD, the party of Mark Rutte that has governed this country for 13 years, has invited the PVV to govern together this summer, has basically opened up, has made an opening that they hadn't made for years, and ever since you can see the party of Geert Wilders growing and growing in the polls.
The VVD's leader on Tuesday also ruled out entering a coalition with Wilders at the helm. These results are the latest in a series of elections altering the European political landscape.
The voters' message today seems clear. There needs to be a tougher stance on migration from the government, and Geert Wilders has promised that he will listen. Whether he finds other parties who are willing to go into government with him, that remains to be seen. This is Fernand van Tetz reporting for Euronews, The Hague.
It's an image from the last European Parliament election campaign, and one even more relevant now that the far right has won the Dutch parliamentary elections. Marine Le Pen, the leader of France's national rally, was one of the first to congratulate Geert Wilders and his party on their, quote, spectacular performance, which she says confirms the growing attachment to the defence of national identities. Hungary's nationalist Prime Minister Viktor Orban posted an image of Klaus Meine, frontman of the rock band Scorpions, calling the result the winds of change on social media. Tough immigration laws were at the heart of Wilders' winner's speech, a monologue that resonated with the leader of Italy's far-right La Lega party, Matteo Salvini. He welcomed his friend and ally. The winner of the Dutch elections is sometimes referred to as the Dutch Trump, but he actually entered politics long before the former American president. Wilders built his career on fighting what he calls the Islamic invasion of the West. Israelis ever waiting for the return of their loved ones. At the 11th hour, a senior official announced that the planned exchange of some Palestinians held in Israeli prisons with 50 Israeli hostages in Gaza will be delayed until at least Friday. There is also doubt over when a promised temporary ceasefire will begin. Last Wednesday night, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accompanied by other members of the Israeli leadership, sought to reassure the public the hostage deal was the right decision.
לא תמיד מבצע צבאי אפשרי, ולכן איננו ממתינים. אנחנו מנצלים כל שביב הזדמנות לשחרור חטופינו, כי השבתם היא משימה קדושה. צה"ל וכל גורמי הביטחון תומכים באופן מלא במתווה.
In the run-up to the agreed truce, Israel has continued its ground and air operation in Gaza. It was triggered by the Hamas militant 7th of October attack, which killed 1,200 people. Netanyahu has vowed to win with a, quote, absolute majority. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says more than 14,000 people, including more than 5,000 children, have been killed in Israel's campaign, which has so far primarily targeted hospitals, refugee camps and places of worship. Finland has announced it will close all but one of its border crossings with Russia after a rise in the arrival of refugees and migrants. Helsinki's government claims Moscow is intentionally pushing foreign nationals towards the country's frontiers. The Finnish government previously closed 4 border stations on the eastern side, but that has done little to limit the arrival of hundreds of migrants.
Kyytejä pohjoiseen raja-asemille riittää ja polkupyörien rajan ylittämiseen löytyy. Venäjän viranomaiset eivät ole toimintaan puuttuneet, päinvastoin ei ole merkkejä siitä, että he auttavat tässä. Maahantulon välineellistäminen on yksi keino yrittää vaikuttaa Suomen ja EUn sisäiseen tilanteeseen ja rajaturvallisuuteen.
The governor of the Murmansk region released a video on Tuesday which allegedly shows people of Middle Eastern and African origins gathered near the Finnish border. Since the beginning of the month, more than 600 people without valid travel documents have come to Finland via Russia. Helsinki has accused Moscow of weaponizing desperate refugees and migrants in retaliation for its recent NATO membership. Russia denies the charges.
The presidents of 4 Central European countries have met in Prague for their annual meeting as members of the political alliance Visegrad Group. There they found some common ground on the war in Ukraine. The Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary and Slovakia have recently diverged on military support for its fight against Russia, but they all insist it's vital Ukraine succeeds.
Ruská agrese dopadá na nás všechny. Podpora Ukrajiny je proto zásadní pro naši bezpečnost. Zároveň je také krokem přirozeně lidským. Rusko musí za ztracené lidské životy a škody napáchané na Ukrajině nést odpovědnost. Musíme proto odhodlaně pokračovat ve všestranné podpoře Ukrajiny a jejich občanů. Je to v našem zájmu.
The Czech Republic and Poland have been staunch supporters of Ukraine, opening their borders for refugees and donating arms. But relations soured in September over Ukrainian grain entering and affecting Poland's market. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban simply refused to supply Ukraine with weapons and threatened to veto EU financial aid packages to Kyiv. While Slovakia under new Premier Robert Fico has ended military aid for Ukraine. The Visegrad 4 say military support isn't the only way to help the war-ravaged country.
The European Parliament approves new rules aiming to drastically reduce packaging waste in the EU by several million tonnes. Once the legislation is in place, it will enhance the reuse, collection and recycling of packaging, and many other single-use packaging items will disappear, like lightweight plastic bags. According to the head of the Parliament's Environment Committee, Pascal Canfin, the law will change the mindset of the packaging industries and could diminish 20 or 30% of the 80 billion tonnes of packaging waste produced every year in Europe.
It is probably one of the texts which is the most lobbied. I'll give you one example. McDonald's is lobbying to keep the single-use model. The single-use model is that you use just once all what is necessary to have your food. The alternative to this is precisely the proposal we push for, meaning that when you are in a McDonald's or KFC or Burger King restaurants, on site, not takeaway, on site, then why should you use to drink your Coke a single-use cup and not just a glass? Why?
The legislation bans unnecessary packaging and will force industries to make all packaging recyclable by 2030. And by 2035, all packaging must in fact be recycled in Europe. The EU will also set mandatory quotas for the reuse of different packaging, for example beverage bottles. Some member states asked for derogations to defend the interests of their packaging industries. In France, many feared for the traditional wooden container used to hold camembert cheese and for oysters.
Ces emballages, en l'état, sont biodégradables, ils sont en bois léger et donc ils ne posent aucun problème à l'environnement. Et derrière tout ceci, il y a toute une tradition alimentaire, il y a toute une filière naturellement, une filière importante pour la France. Ça représente des milliers d'emplois, ça représente évidemment toutes des structures qu'il faut absolument préserver.
In the end, the French camembert box was saved by MEPs, but the need to reduce waste still remains.
Ahead of International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, 5 new red benches can now be found in Marseille's parks. They pay tribute to France's victims of femicide. On them, plaques with a grueling statistic. Every 3 days, a woman dies at the hands of her partner or ex-partner. More than 100 women have died at the hands of their partners in France over the last 17 years. Advocates say they're hoping the benches will be a way to fight back against femicide.